Hi YouTube, it's PeggyLu Who. This is PeggyLu Who Reads, or PeggyLu Who Reads. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. If you are not, welcome back. As always, I want to start out by giving a gigantic thank you to my subscribers, all 37 of you as of recording to this, with a special shout out to my favorite subscriber, my mom. Annyeonghaseyo, mama. So yeah, so this is going to be that great YouTube tradition and celebration of consumerism and capitalism that is the haul video. So if you do not obsessively watch YouTube like some of us, a haul video is where a YouTuber gets on and just basically shows you a bunch of stuff that they bought. And in this case, as a booktube channel, I'm going to show you a bunch of books that I bought. But there are all kinds of haul videos all over YouTube for whatever your jam may be. If you are a crafter, there are haul videos of crafting folks showing off all of the craft supplies that they have bought. If you are into makeup, there are videos of makeup addicts and makeup artists doing haul videos of all of the new palettes that they have. If you are a record collector, I'm sure that there are folks that do record hauls, although I haven't looked at any of those myself, but like now that I mention it, that sounds like a fun afternoon to just go down that rabbit hole.
One eternity later.
Okay, I'm back. So yeah, so this is going to be a haul video, but this one is going to be a special haul video because this is going to be a video of all of the Book of the Month Club books that I have hauled so far this year in 2021. Again, I am not sponsored by Book of the Month. I just can't shut up about them. It is a great service. I recently got it in my mind that I might subscribe to a couple other book subscription services just so that I could do a video comparing some of them. And I might do that, but they are very expensive in comparison to Book of the Month. Of course, a lot of the other ones come with special doodads and whatnots and what have you, mugs and canteens and book slips and bookmarks and prints and a whole lot of other stuff. But Book of the Month is just books. So there isn't that element of other little goodies in the box with the Book of the Month. And there's no surprises. When you are subscribed to Book of the Month, the way it works is that every month you, at the beginning of the month, get an email from them that reminds you to go on and pick your book. There's usually about 5 books to choose from. You pick the book you want. The monthly subscription is usually $14.99, and then if you want, you can add up to 2 add-on books, and those add-on books are usually $10. So you can select any of their add-on books. The add-on books are usually books that were previous months or just other bestsellers or anything like that. That is a really good deal for books. A word about haul videos. I know they're like super weird and everything, and a lot of YouTubers do them, but I will definitely say that I don't necessarily feel like if you are a book lover that you have to buy a bunch of books. There are a ton of people that love books that use their local library, they borrow books, they use the little free library in their neighborhood, they get books on a Kindle, they do audiobooks. I am not here to judge your book collection, no matter how small or how large it is. That's just not my jam. If you have thoughts about this, honestly, I would prefer if you didn't comment on it. If you want to tell me that you think that Marie Kondo and minimalists are awful people because they don't have books, I'm not here for it. I honestly, really, truly believe that each of us have our own choice to make in life about how we live our lives. Some of us have smaller apartments, some of us don't have the budget. I am not here to judge you. With my current circumstances, I'm in a good place where I have space and I have time and I have money, so I am subscribed to Book of the Month, and so I have been collecting quite a few books lately. So I thought I would go through the books that I've gotten and show you all kind of what the Book of the Month looks like and how it works. So here we go. Okay, so this is my box that I got this month in August. It's August, yeah. So I already opened this up because I did an Instagram story of the opening / unboxing. Like I said, there is no surprise here, unfortunately. I love a good surprise, but I chose these books, so here we go. This is what the box will look like when you get it. So you get this nice blue box. It says Book of the Month on the outside. You open it up, and on top is the book that I chose for this month. And then I also chose an add-on book, and I'm going to get into a little bit more detail about these books in a moment, but first I just want to show you what this is like. And then there's usually a bookmark with like a cute little saying on the flip side. So it says, "Mark as unread," which is appropriate because I haven't read these yet. So this month I chose this book, The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina, a novel by Zoraida Cordova. And honestly, I can't remember what this is about. The Montoyas are used to a life without explanations. They know better than to ask why the pantry never seems to run low or empty, or why their matriarch won't ever leave their home in Four Rivers, not for graduations, weddings, or baptisms. But when Orquídea Divina invites them to her funeral and to collect their inheritance, they hope to learn the secrets that she has held onto so tightly their whole lives. Instead, Orquídea is transformed into a ceiba tree, her limbs stretching into roots and branches, leaving them with more questions than answers. So, sounds like a really cool sort of fantasy, maybe magical realism type book. So the other thing about the Book of the Month Club books is that they're really nice hardback, but they're not fancy with anything, like they're not sprayed edges or anything. There's no cool inside the cover art. Sometimes you get those in some of the hard copy books, but it is really cool that they are sort of stamped and embossed with the month and year that you got them. So yeah, so this is my latest Book of the Month pick. And then I also did an add-on this month of Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I've been hearing a lot about this this all over booktubes and Goodreads and whatnot. So this is a young adult novel. When the shadows rise, so will the light. When blood is shed, blood will call. By the king's table for the order might, by our eternal oaths the line is law. So this is actually an Arthurian legend retelling, and I went through like a huge period when I was a kid, and by a kid I mean in high school, where I just was way into Arthurian legend, and I read anything Arthurian that I could get my hands on. So this is a return to form. I mean, I love that it's a YA novel, YA being young adult novel, and that it is a Arthurian legend adaptation. So it will take me right back to my teen years, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it is set in the current time. Yeah, it involves a secret society at UNC Chapel Hill. So yeah, this is something that I'm looking forward to. So the other thing that's funny about that is that a couple months ago, I chose for my book of the month, Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. And this is actually also an Arthurian legend retelling. This is from June of this year. And the Lady of Shalott reclaims her story in this bold feminist reimagining of the Arthurian myth from the best-selling author of Ash Princess. I've never read Ash Princess. I don't know. Everyone knows the legend of Arthur, destined to be a king, of the beautiful Guinevere, who will betray him with his most loyal knight, Lancelot, of the bitter sorceress, Morgana, who will turn against them all. But Elaine alone carries the burden of knowing what is to come, for Elaine of Shalott is cursed to see the future. So, yeah, I think that at some point in the not too distant future, I'll probably end up doing an Arthurian legend themed TBR because I have these 2 books and some others on my shelf that are left over from my teen years that I actually never got around to reading, so stay tuned for that in the future. Currently, I am reading on my TBR from July, The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. So this is also a Book of the Month Club book, and I've talked about this before, but this is sort of historical fiction, and it tells the story of a woman who is an apothecary who brews poisons for other women, and also a woman who is in the current time who is doing research and discovering the lost story of the Lost Apothecary. So this is, again, like I said, a book that I'm currently reading, about 3/4 of the way through. So if that sounds interesting, keep your eye out for a wrap-up video because I'll talk about it. If you have seen my mid-year freakout tag video, you know about these 2 books. So Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary, which is a sci-fi book written by the same gentleman who wrote The Martian, and this is a lone astronaut, an impossible mission, an ally he never imagined. Ryland Grace is the sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission, and if he fails, humanity and Earth itself will perish. No pressure, though. And then there is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. So this is a dark academia set at the Cambridge University in Cambridge, England, where my grandmother's from, not the university, the town of Cambridge. And a spellbinding tale of psychological suspense weaving together Greek mythology, murder, and obsession. And this sort of tells a story about a mystery at the university about a well-liked professor and a group of, did you just hear my cat meow? So this tells the story of a secret society, an all-female secret society at Cambridge University. There's a mystery, and it involves a professor of classics at the university. So looking forward to digging into this sometime this year. So I also got The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was an add-on that I got one of the months, and it came out a while ago. I think this was, oh yeah, this must have been, it says it's June 2017. So like I said, you can choose as an add-on one of the books from one of the previous months if they have stock left over. So Taylor Jenkins Reid has, I think 3 or 4 novels that she has written and have been published. And it's my understanding that they're all sort of told in the same universe, but they're not interconnected in that they're a series. I haven't read any of her books yet. I thought I'd start with this one. And so that is something that I will be reading soon. Keep an eye out for it. Then finally, I also got the final revival of Opal and Nev by Donnie Walton. So this is a fiction book that is about a musical group or a musical duo. I don't know too much about it, but I know that I've seen good reviews for it. Sometimes it's better not to know too much about it, but Opal is a fiercely independent young woman pushing against the grain in her style and attitude, a black punk artist before her time. Coming of age in Detroit, she can't imagine settling for a comfortable job. Despite her unconventional looks, Opal believes she can be a star, so when British singer-songwriter Neville Charles discovers her at a bar amateur night, she takes him up on his offer to make rock music together for the fledgling Rivington Records. There's a lot about this that I like. I'm really a big music fan. The fact that she starts out in Detroit and she's a black punk reminds me of a band called Death, which is this original punk rock group of brothers that happen to be black. And basically they recorded this really amazing album that never really saw the light of day, and years later was discovered. And by years, I mean like just a few years ago, there was a documentary about it. Really loved it. So looking forward to checking out the final revival of Opal and Nev soon. And then finally, the last of the books that I got from Book of the Month so far this year. This book is actually one of my favorite books that I do not have a copy of. I used to have a copy of, but like so many books, I loaned it to someone and happily loaned it to somebody and did not get it back, and I am not mad. If you're the person I loaned it to and you're out there and you happen to be watching this, don't worry, I'm not upset with you. Look, I got a copy. So this book came out many years ago, and I was able to purchase this as an add-on. So this was what they called the Modern Classics. So like I said, the add-ons can be books from previous months, but sometimes they have other books as well. So this book is The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. Erik Larson is a historian. This was the first book of his that I read. It was really popular several years ago, and I read it and I really like his way of telling historical stories, and so I've read most of his books at this point. If you've not read this book or heard of this book before, this tells the story of the Chicago World's Fair in 1893. So it was the Columbian Exposition. So it started in 1892, or that doesn't make sense. 1893. I thought it was 1892. So it's the Columbian Exposition in Chicago. So it was 400 years after Columbus landed in the Americas, and so the folks of Chicago wanted to put on a World's Fair, and this was shortly after the Parisian World Fair, where the Eiffel Tower was unveiled. The way that his books usually work is that he will take a period of time or historical event, and he will sort of tell it by telling two stories that are completely unrelated in every aspect other than the fact that they happened at the same sort of event. So in this book, The Devil in the White City tells the story of the Chicago Columbian Exposition World's Fair in 1892, where the first serial killer in the United States, a man named H.H. Holmes, was active and murdering young women during the time of the World's Fair. So he juxtaposes the story of H.H. Holmes, this serial killer, against the men who were the planners and architects of the World's Fair, including the gentleman, Mr. Ferris, whose first name I can't remember, who was the inventor of the Ferris wheel, and he was commissioned to create something for the fair that would, and I quote, out Eiffel. And so this book is really interesting. I love history, and Erik Larson is a really good storyteller. He finds a way to make history into a compelling story, and part of that, like I said, is the way that he juxtaposes two angles or two subplots related to a specific historical event that don't seem to have any real connection other than the specific historical event. So I'm going to reread this year because it is one of my favorites. It is taken up its spot on the shelf of favorite books, and so I was really happy to be able to replace this through my Book of the Month subscription. Liberty by Caitlin Greenidge was one of the first books that I got from Book of the Month, but I loaned that one to my mother, so I don't have it with me today. Liberty was the story, historical fiction, that she was a freeborn Black woman who was the daughter of a homeopathic physician within the Black community in Brooklyn during the time of Reconstruction. And so if you would like to hear more about that book, I talked about it in my May wrap-up. Yeah, exactly. So, because I finished it in May and I loaned it to my mother. So, yeah, so that was the first of my Book of the Month Club books, which I don't have to hold up and show you. Sorry. So those are the Book of the Month books that I've gotten so far this year. Thank you very much for going through that with me. If you have any comments or questions, if you want me to read any of these before any of the others, if you like the idea of me doing an Arthurian TBR, and or you think that you want me to ignore all of these books and read some of the other books that you've seen on my channel first, let me know in the comments below. As always, I'm going to include the referral link for Book of the Month below in the description, so if this has intrigued you to want to try Book of the Month, again, I am not a paid sponsor, or this is not a sponsorship, I am not a paid spokesperson for Book of the Month. But if you're interested in checking it out, please use my referral code. You will get your first month for just $9.99, and I will get a free book for referring you. Also, if you subscribe to Book of the Month and you, after the first month, decide to cancel, that's fine. You get to keep the book that you got for $9.99. If you are subscribing to Book of the Month and you decide one month that you just can't afford the book, don't want the book, none of the books look good, you can skip a month anytime. And I think that's all you need to know about Book of the Month and the books that I've gotten so far this year from my Book of the Month subscription. Please take a moment to subscribe if you have not already, and until next time, read well. As always, I want to give a special thank out. Shoot, I can't remember the gal's name. Caitlin Greenidge. Yeah. If you are new to my channel, I always say the name wrong. I always say the devil in the city of white instead of in the white city. So that's why I keep looking at the title to make sure that I got it right. That was terrible.